Hey everybody, my name is your host, Calvin Logan with the Logan Power Show, nationwide, worldwide. Well man, it's a blessing, it's an honor for you listening to me right now. The Logan Power Show, we are nationwide, worldwide. We are here to impact the community, make a difference for all those that are watching us. Always look us up at www.theloganpowershow.us. We're here to come into your household to make a difference in your lives. We're here to educate, we're here to uplift, we're here to make a difference in this entire community. This nation will know that to God be the glory. Jesus is the way, Jesus is the reason for the season. Today is the day to donate to us. www.theloganpowershow.us. I'm telling you right now, you sow a seed here, Bible promise return on your giving. We're here to make a difference. We appreciate all that you do. Going on YouTube, checking out the Logan Power Show. Hey, like us on Facebook at the Logan Power Show. We got our own supporterships page at the Logan Power Show supporters page. Call us today at 843-697-5545. Finally, again, email us at theloganpowershow@gmail.com. Well, I tell you right now, we're going to trust and we're going to lean on God. This show's going to make a difference. We're going to make it happen, family, and we do it together. We're going to make an impact in this nation and across the world. This is me, your host, Calvin Logan, nationwide, worldwide, the Logan Power Show. We love y'all.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Logan Power Show. It's me, your host, Calvin Logan, live for your favorite ministries here in Ridgeville, South Carolina. Well, ladies and gentlemen, he's back again. Here the Logan Power Show is a returning guest, but he's on a new trail, a new journey. He ran for Senator of South Carolina, but now he said, I'm going to bring it back home. He's running for mayor candidate for North Charleston, the one and only Pastor Thomas Dixon. How you doing, sir?
How you doing?
Good. Glad to have you here.
Good to be back.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, Pastor, let's get down to it. You tried to see if you can win the Senate race. Came up short, but now we're going to try to see if we can hit a home run when it comes to the mayor for North Charleston. This is a different, new level, new journey, new challenge. We know that in North Charleston, Mayor Keesum's been around, been running the show for over 20 plus years.
Yes.
The biggest question people will say, what will you do different? What will make you different than all the other people who come behind who have fell short?
One of the things when it comes to execution of the office, and not to be too disparaging as far as the current mayor, but in recent years, the facts behind the corruption that's taking place within our North Charleston City Hall have actually come to light very, very much. And this is the pastor's show today, isn't it?
Yes,
so
sir.
from a pastor's perspective,
Yes, sir.
one of the things that I'm bringing to the table is a high level of moral consciousness, ethics, and integrity. Something that I've been known for throughout the community and dealing with the community all of these many years. People know that I'm a man of my word and I don't compromise that.
Got it.
And so to bring that to bear within the confines of North Charleston City Hall and to be able to represent not some of the people but all of the people with that same level of integrity, that's something that the people haven't seen before. Why do I expect at this point to win and to win by a landslide victory? It's because over the years, the people of North Charleston and throughout the Low Country and around this state have seen not only that level of integrity, but have seen that when it comes to standing up for the rights of people with liberty and justice for all, my boots stay on the ground.
Got it.
Anybody wants to know anything about me, it's a couple of ways that they can find out. They can Google Pastor Thomas Dixon and see what pops up. They can go to my Facebook page, Thomas Dixon, and just go to the photo albums, over 260 some odd photo albums, and see the work that I've done in the community. Work in the living wages category, work in the fair employment at MUSC, work in trying to end this gun violence out here in the streets that's a scourge in North Charleston and the mayor of North Charleston has done nothing about it.
Okay.
So I do believe that based on the fact that the people know, the people they trust, and they believe in the candidate, it's going to show an unprecedented turnout in voter turnout in 2019 in favor of me and in this election.
I got you. And you know, this is it's going to be an interesting one. 2019 next year. It's going to come around the corner. We have a serious situation he's mentioning about North Charleston. North Charleston is very high when it comes to gun violence, death. We're high on a lot of different things. If it's not death, if it's not corruption, a high balance. Now, the biggest thing that I always want to know is about coming together. There's 100,000 plus people that live in North Charleston, South Carolina. 70% is African American. You would think in these 20 plus years, 25 plus years, we would have seen by now an African American mayor. We have never seen it here in the Low Country. Georgetown just had their first breakthrough, and that's a long time. We're talking about almost 100 years.
Yep.
You will be the first. Came close. There was some votes short. You had a lot of corruption. You know, you speak for yourself that you have been in the community. I can testify to absolutely. What are we going to do when it comes to, like, what will you do when it comes to education? The reason I mention education is because a lot of our youth today, especially in North Charleston, you know, South Carolina, period, we are number 48. We are dead last pretty much on a lot of different things on the totem pole. Difference between the public school, charter school, private school. North Charleston pretty much deals with a lot of different sectors where we sprinkle these charter schools here, sprinkle a couple public schools, private schools. Private schools, parents can't really say I'm not going to afford. I can't afford to put up that much money each month. Charter school is a lottery pick, and public school either hey it's good or not, whatever. If you're in, you're not. You live in the area, so and then you got to pay. Which another thing you got to pay. You want to transfer from this place to that from a public aspect. You're talking about $1,000. What are we going to? What will you do to change education?
The educational aspect. First off, as far as the demographic in North Charleston, it's a little bit 50% African American, but another 10 is 11% Hispanic. Okay, that's the actual demographic. Definitely treated with disparity when it comes to education. That has got to be correct. As I look at the charter school situation versus public school situation, public schools in North Charleston have been allowed to not flourish. Funding through Charleston County School District is not placed into those schools so they can flourish. We understand, and they support it, that the money is put into a school, schools are successful. But in North Charleston, there's a term called failing schools that seems to be the norm. And I have a problem with the fact that our 24-year mayor has allowed that term to be acceptable in North Charleston. It should never have been acceptable. Many people have seen the work that I've done within the school districts, how I've been at school board meetings, how I've fought for different things in the school board. In particular, the funding for public schools, quality public education, not anything that we're supposed to be vouchers for and all of that. Any child should be able to get up and go to the school that's in their neighborhood, and we should expect that that child receives a quality public education. But instead, because of the synergy between what I really believe is the school district and North Charleston City Hall, in order to allow certain areas to be broken down so gentrification can be moved in and made, our children are being undereducated within the public school system. Now, I mentioned that people have seen me inside of those board meetings fighting as Pastor Dixon. They've seen me walk up in there. But the school district, the school board, they look at Pastor Dixon and say, okay, you got your 2 minutes to talk. And at the end of those 2 minutes, they say bye, and I'm forgotten about because I just talked and that was it. Yeah. I guarantee you, as Mayor Dixon, when I walk up in the Charleston County School District and go take the floor, they're not going to tell me 3 minutes, and they're going to listen because I'm going to tell them a couple of things. One being, failing schools in North Charleston will no longer be acceptable. Do your job. And as the mayor, I'm going to not only demand it, I'm going to follow through until they do their jobs and elevate the public school system within North Charleston, that it's acceptable for all of our children, and that our children are being trained in order to be viable members of the workforce as we move into the 21st, further into the 21st century. Trades returning back into our schools. I'm going to push for these things in order to make sure early education. early childhood education. I thought it was funny. I was at the North Charleston City Hall city council meeting the other night.
Yep.
And Mayor Summy spoke about how, with Hersey Elementary, I'm going in and I'm going to lobby for Hersey Elementary. Hersey's a Montessori school.
Yeah.
And we're going to do better, and I'm going in and lobby, and I'm saying to myself, you ain't lobbying for nobody else. I haven't seen you up in that school district, in the school board. I haven't heard about, all I've heard about schools failing. And when they fail, they're usually people that look just like you and I inside of those failing schools.
Got it.
As of 2019, that dog ain't gonna hunt no more.
Got it. I got it.
These are our children.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna protect our children and all children, because it's not ethnicity specific. It's about all children. There are lots of poor whites in North Charleston who are suffering under this also, and Latino who are suffering under this also. It's time for all to rise, because unless all rise, nobody rises.
Absolutely, definitely. Now, another thing that we want to discuss is the infrastructure change that we've been seeing a lot. A lot of the city council members have been talking about from going from single homes to multi-homes and taking away changing the structure how everything is done. As you see, like if you go through North Charleston, just like Rivers Avenue, just for an example, promises were made in regards to grocery stores that never did happen. The Veterans Hospital on Rivers Avenue that once was North Charleston, then sold to a name we do well known, and then sold back. And they bought it for almost 4 times the amount they originally sold it for. So what are some things that we can do across the infrastructure in regards to giving people like a fair take and making a difference how the infrastructure is done in regards to the neighborhood?
First off, we need a city government that cares about everybody. That's the first thing. That's the thing that's going to turn all of that around. But to be able to look, especially down on the south side, I don't know why it is every city in America on the south side, it's always the south side. And when we get to the south side, it's always people that look like us who get the worst treatment. So after 24 years under this mayor, we see how the south end of North Charleston has been allowed to go as far down as it could. There are no services put into those areas, no parks, no playgrounds. It's amazing how you can spend about $8 million up Dorchester Road on the upper area in the Dorchester Road for a park that's got ball fields and walking trails and everything. And then you take $1,000 and put a little jungle gym thing up down on the low end and say, oh, this is fair. Unfortunately, it's not. It's separate but equal.
Got it.
It's the same. And our children on the low end who travel up Dorchester and see that wonder to themselves, why don't we have this in our neighborhood?
Sure.
This was allowed by the same city council, many of whom have been on the city council 20, 30 years, and under this mayor's leadership.
Got it.
That has got to stop. It's time for change. Now, I'm not going to take anything away from the mayor and the building that he's done.
Got it.
He has created a great city. But anytime you do it and you compromise people in order to do so, you're wrong. Now, when it comes to the misuse of the property that was once Naval Hospital, there's something that really can be done in order to turn that around, especially after we wound up paying $31 million or so to buy it back.
To buy it back. That was the crazy part that I didn't understand the math. Like, give it to somebody, they pay penny to a dollar for it. After paying penny to a dollar for it, they let it sit. That Naval Hospital could help out a lot of veterans. We both are veterans ourselves. If you ever been to the VA hospital downtown, even though it's being built, it's great. But it's like a fast food restaurant where, like, go to this floor, that floor, this floor here, and everything downtown doesn't have any space. Now, if you go up for Goose Creek, there's still not enough lineup for veterans. So you would think that Rivers Avenue, what the impact it would bring. And so for me, at one time when it was open, it was very convenient. But then when it closed, and I was like, okay, let's see what's going to be done. It's been the same way for almost 10 plus years, and you're like, okay, so what are you going to do with it?
Longer than that. And that is the problem as it lies. And I started out by saying you have to have a council and a mayor who really want to take care of people.
Got it.
In order to make it happen. Accessibility to the VA downtown is extremely difficult when it comes to, when we look at our rapid transit system, that's really not rapid at all. Our transit system. There's something else that needs to be worked on, and I work along with best friends of the Low Country Transit, Rapid Transit, and others right now as we're moving toward a better transportation system here in the Low Country in order to reduce traffic out on I-26 and also cut down that carbon emission stamp that we're killing our environment with.
Got it.
That the Naval Hospital itself, I have an actual plan for how we can best utilize that facility, and not only to benefit veterans, but all of our people who are seeking services in the Low Country under that one roof.
Got it.
And that will be one of the points that I start out with as of November the 6th, 2019, after I win this election, will be exactly how we're going to make the South End and Naval Hospital accessible, and how it will grow to meet the needs of the community without putting people out, forcing people out, and allowing unscrupulous realtors to come in and buy people out of the homes that they've lived in and held on to for so long. If we don't help a person, all we're going to do is hurt a person. And right now, for years, we've been hurting people in North Charleston. And that's what I say about that compass, that moral compass that I bring to the past. My whole thing is about helping people. It's about helping people. We got a school that just opened last year that's in danger of closing, that's helping African-American young children. Prestige Preparatory. Principal Coleman there. She needs help. She should be able to turn to the city and also the school district, which is actually not helping her at all.
No.
In order to thrive, in order to survive. And whose children are being hurt if it goes? Once again, our children. I'll say it on camera, Black Lives Matter. They do matter. Our lives do matter just as much as anybody else's matter. And our children, unless our children are being afforded the same opportunities that every other ethnicity, and I'll include Latinos in there also, then this is not the America that we claim to be, and we need to stop teaching our children that last line in the Pledge of Allegiance with liberty and justice for all. Drop that. Don't frustrate our children by teaching them a lie, unless we're going to do the right thing.
Wow. Very powerful statement, and another couple questions I want to ask. The social injustice. I know there's a big divide when it comes to North Charleston Police Department and African Americans and Latinos. We just got Chief Burgess, shout out to him. He plans for change. What, if you were mayor, once you had the opportunity, what will you do with him to make North Charleston, when it comes to police and community working together to make this better?
First of all, I just wish I would have been the mayor in 2012 because Chief Burgess would have been the chief then. I wouldn't have brought in Chief Burgess from the Charleston Department and put him over the police department. Chief Burgess had the experience then, he had the know-how then, he had the background then to move up in the chief's position. And the mayor refused to move him up and said he brought in Chief Burgess, who was with the chaplain service. Now, I'm going to put it out there. The difference between then and now why Chief Burgess is the chief, other than the fact that he was qualified then and is still the most qualified person for the job, is the fact that the mayor knows that he got somebody that's going to beat him in this race. So he had to endear himself to the black community. And why not, instead of having a fish fry, elevate a black man to the chief of police in North Charleston, who should have been elevated 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Wow. I don't have any problem saying that's true.
It's true.
Reggie has been the most qualified person for that position for years. But they held it back and they put a chaplain over him. Now, what's the difference now and how do we move forward? Right now, the way it's set up is that with this strong mayor system and when Chief Dritters, the former Chief Dritters still on the scene, they created a position in between Reggie and the mayor for Chief Dritters. Now, whether that's a liaison between Reggie and the mayor or not, I don't know. Chief Burgess has been doing an outstanding job since assuming his position, I must say that. But until there's a mayor that he's working along with, who really understands the dynamic of the community that he's working with. You see, Mayor Summey doesn't understand that community. It was all very obvious last year when we brought him to task after the shooting in Northwoods Mall, and he responded by talking about, we can't raise your children. Nobody asked him to raise our children. The only thing we asked him to do was his job. His job was to protect and serve. And the guns in the community are not part of allowing them in is not protecting and serving. So we said that, and he started talking about, well, when I was young, talking about the jobs. When I was young, I used to hustle pop bottles and sell groceries on the corner and shine shoes. Well, I had news for him. I told him, I said last year, those jobs got phased out a long time ago. And Ray Ray and Pookie and them ain't out here trying to shine those shoes because there ain't no jobs doing it. They need to be able to get jobs that pay them a decent rate of pay. I've talked to the brothers out on the block, young brothers out here, who say that the honorable position of flipping burgers, okay, and it is an honorable position because it pays their CEO enough money to give himself an $8 million raise last year. So those same people that's working at the bottom level, they're the ones that put that money in so they can actually give them $15 an hour. Easy. But it's our young brothers out here on the block will take those jobs because they know the dangers of the job that they're doing. Out there hustling and carrying on. Either death or jail is what's the result of it. A lot of them would take it. But until we get someone in office who understands the dynamic of the community, someone who understands the lethality of a community where guns are allowed to come into that community, that should have been stopped a long time ago, and there are mechanisms that can be put in place in order to slow the flow of guns into the community. They told me that the guns that come in our community all come from burglaries and break-ins. I come from the streets of Chicago. I was born and raised in the projects of Chicago. I know how the guns come. Look, they pull out with the car in the trunk and they say, which one you want? And it don't have nothing to do with age or nothing like that. So a lot of the things that we could prevent as far as that, Chief Burgess under the right mayor will have the leeway to do his job without being answerable to somebody who doesn't even understand the community that he's trying to serve. A collaborative effort between myself and the understanding that I have. I was last November elected to the Brady campaign to prevent gun violence to their National Board of Trustees for the work that I've done against gun violence. I was also recognized by the National Bar Association this year for the work I've done against gun violence. And born and raised over 30 years in the projects of Chicago. A collaborative effort between myself and Chief Reggie Burgess will bring success when it comes to reducing crime and violence, especially violent crime in North Charleston. I put it out in my original announcement. We will break that down at least 50% over in the first 2 years that I'm in office.
Wow. That's some big numbers, and people that are listening to me right now, those are huge numbers. North Charleston, just for, if you do like their actual average earnings, we bring in about a good $100 million plus a year. That's just knowing the facts of what's going on. So I want you all to understand that North Charleston, South Carolina, even with 100,000 people, brings in $100 million yearly. I'm going to say that again, $100 million yearly, and we only got 100,000 people that live in the vicinity, and we're bringing that much money. One thing before we go to commercial break, Boeing. I know Boeing is a blessing, absolute blessing, shout out to it, but when it comes to people that live in North Charleston, they're not given the actual opportunities to get the jobs that they would love to have. The T-Mobile just won the new call center here, that's great, 400 plus jobs. You got Boeing, who's still making a ton of money, and then you just got Volvo just coming to the Ridgeville area. As always, as we always see, when the big boys come, the people on the small totem pole not getting the opportunities for those access to those jobs, or it's just a small sprinkles. What will you do in regards to being mayor to create those jobs, or make it that the small, medium business be very successful as you take off?
I think one of the problems when we look at the major corporations that are coming here, and I applaud our current mayor for facilitating a lot of that. But of course, a lot of it came through large tax breaks too. And somebody's got to subsidize. When you give something away, somebody's got to subsidize it. Who subsidizes? The taxpayers actually subsidize for it. But that being said, I think that the representation for the community, the little people, as we're referring to, is not at the table when it comes to dealing with Boeing, Volvo, the other major corporations that are here. No one is actually speaking on their behalf in a way where the corporations will understand their obligation to the community to give into those who are less fortunate, to develop the STEM education system in order to make sure that our children are coming up trained to move into those jobs. But even in the meantime, there are things that can be done in the community in order to ensure that the jobs are available within those. There could be quota systems set up so that our community, so that the folks from Seattle, Washington, can't come in here and just move in here and be acceptable when we do have the people here that can fill those jobs. I intend to, before the election, to reach out to some of those corporations myself with some ideas that I do have. One being, and I'll share this, that there needs to be more of an interaction between these corporations and the prison system in South Carolina. Specifically those that are housing inmates who are coming back to North Charleston once they're released. 98% of those who go into this prison system are coming out. Now, if we catch those that's in the system that have a certain skill set or that will to get out and stay out, which is most of those, I've been in the prison system, I never met anybody that wanted to come back. It's just they didn't have the opportunity or the skill set or the nurturing in order to get out and stay out, and the pitfalls when they got out. But if we, if they would agree to allot 1% of their employment to those that are in the prison system, or 2% to those that are in the prison system, identify those when they first go in as possible candidates for training. Begin that training within the prison system while they're still in, so that when they graduate, when they reach their date for release, they leave there trained to go into a job, say at home. They go into a job that's paying them good pay and giving them full benefits, as opposed to coming out with the pitfalls set up for them to turn around and go back into the prison system. We can begin to reduce some of this recidivism by giving those who are incarcerated some kind of hope.
Wow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, hey, we got a lot of things going on right here. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break. And we're back live at the Logan Power Show here in Ridgeville, South Carolina. I'm telling you right now, I'm having a ball with Mayor candidate, Pastor Thomas Dixon. So before you go, Pastor, we're just elaborating on some things that we want to see different change to be done. We know that you have a plan, you have a vision. Can you name another strategy, another thing that you think that you can make a difference here in North Charleston when you have the opportunity to make it?
My strategy and my plan is multi-tiered and multi-level, because I feel that unless several of the areas of injustice that we see perpetrated against the least of these in North Charleston, unless these things are all addressed simultaneously, then we're going to continue to slip back into the boat of mistreatment of some within the community. We know that, and we've talked about it already, that education is one of the primary contributors to incarceration. So that has to be addressed. But what also needs to be addressed is the poverty situation that we see in North Charleston. Until we can get people on an economic level where they can breathe, where they can believe in the American dream of life, liberty, and happiness, where Parents don't have to work 2 and 3 jobs in order to try to just keep a roof over their head, but are paid enough money through one job in order to not only take care of their households, but plan a vacation, have their children not just watch Disney World, but someday be able to go to Disney World. Until we get to that point, we're continuing to frustrate our population. So I guess the plans are in effect to ensure that the economic level of all within North Charleston rises. Because once that happens, once that money, the least, those who make the least spend the most. And when you increase the amount that the least of these receive through wages, they're going to feed that money back into the economy, thereby lifting the values within our small businesses and also our larger corporations. And we're smart enough to know in making that increase, we can put people on the moon, we can touch people's hearts and change them out. We're smart enough to build in mechanisms so we don't hurt small business and put them out of business. No, we're in there to enrich people. Along with that is contract equity within the city contract system. Everything that is done within North Charleston needs to be according to demographic. The makeup, that 50% African American, another 10 to 11% Latino, and the rest varying, predominantly white. That we continue to reach out within our community to make sure that our contracts are being awarded according to that demographic. And if by any chance that we fall short in a certain demographic, that spillover is still maintained within that demographic. That if we have to go beyond our borders of North Charleston, that we still go as close to local as possible, but maintain within that certain ethnicity in order to strengthen the power base of all within our community. Nobody left behind. That's the only way to go. So these are intersection. There's an intersectionality when it comes to dealing with social justice issues. What affects one directly affects all indirectly. So we need to address our social justice ills from that standpoint, as opposed to being single issue people or a city council or mayor's office that is focusing on one area instead of focusing on all. For me, I've learned this over the years. I can't fix the gun violence without fixing the school system, without fixing the recidivism for those that have gone to prison and come back out, without fixing the pay equity, and without fixing this and that. It has to all be fixed. And it can be. It can be. Once we reinstill the vision and the hope in the people of the community to get behind their elected officials, who know that their elected officials are not using their office for gain, personal gain, and that are acting in their best interest. I do believe that the people will stand up once they can breathe, once they can see the American dream and be a part and participate in that same dream. So the best thing for North Charleston right now is new leadership with a new vision for a new North Charleston. And you're looking at that right now.
Amen. Amen. You're looking at change, looking at something new. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, the time is now next year in November 2019. We make that decision. It's your choice. And all about getting understanding. Make sure that you have know every candidate here. We have a platform here. We invite everyone to come on. We feel that, hey, like I said, we invite Mayor Key, some of yourself. We invite them all. We want to give people the opportunity to speak your piece, but we want to make sure that we get everyone here. So that's we know that Pastor Dixon is here. He said his piece. He told what he wants to do. And like I said, once given the opportunity, if you heard him here, hold that person accountable. Once they've been given that opportunity, hold them accountable. That's the biggest thing. Speak solutions, don't speak the problem. That's all I can tell you. Speak the solutions, don't speak the problem. Pastor Dixon, final thing, how can the people get in contact with you?
Well, the easiest way to get in touch with me is through my Facebook presence right now. While my website is under construction. My Dixon for Mayor website is under construction. But on Facebook, you can reach me through my personal page, which is Thomas Dixon, Dixon. Or you can get to the Dixon for Mayor 2019-North Charleston page, or either of the coalition pages, the Coalition People United to Take Back Our Community. I can be reached at any one of those pages. My cell phone number is, and I don't have any problem putting that out, it's 843-437-1949. That's 843-437-1949. If you've got issues, things going on within, your personal situation, incarcerations, or whatever it might be, you can use that number. And that number is going to stay the same when I become mayor of North Charleston. Accessibility, right along with accountability for a better North Charleston. I am who I am. I'm not getting ready to change doing what I've been doing for years. So that's about the easiest way to get in touch with me anytime. Anybody wants to email me, you can email me at dixonformayor@gmail.com. And all I can say is holler at your boy. And don't holler at your boy every time you're just in need. Holler at your boy just to say, what's happening? How you doing, Pastor? Pastor like to hear that too every now and then.
Pastor always like to hear that information. Well, hey, family, you just heard it one time, the Logan Power Show. We made history before. We're going to make history again. We're going to have a good time. We tell you right now, make a difference. Make a mark that cannot be erased. Never hold back. It's the year of the hold back, not to hold back anyone. No leave nobody behind. It's the year of fire and power that God's going to bring upon this earth. And I tell you right now, it's time to take over, family. So the time I got, my name is Calvin, the Logan Power Show, nationwide, worldwide. We love you. See you on next week.